KCUnit.com. AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix. It's the lunch break.
Welcome in. It is the Wednesday edition of the lunch break. My name is Evan Reiser, filling in for Chris Schubert. Chris is on vacation. Hope he's having a wonderful time. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday, halfway through the week already. And we get the show underway. And I mean, that, all in all, has to be one of the craziest Tuesday nights I can remember in sports. I mean, just looking back on it, you have the Ravens. It starts with the Ravens. They back out of a trade of the 2 first-round picks for Max Crosby. We're going to get into that here in hour number 1 of the program because that was a crazy whole deal. Then you have USA Baseball. They lose to Italy. Now we have a plethora of different scenarios. We're going to get into that in hour number 2 of how the U.S. can miss the knockout rounds after losing to Italy in one of the biggest upsets probably in all of the WBC. And they didn't know how to play it. They didn't know what to do. And just mistakes all over the place for the United States baseball team. Oh, and Bam Adebayo dropped the second most points in an NBA game ever with 83 last night against the Wizards. We'll get into that here in hour number 1 as well. It was a crazy Tuesday night, but in the midst of all of that, the Suns made it a third in a row. And we start with our local basketball team.
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
Start stringing them together. It's 3 wins in a row for the Phoenix Suns. They get a 129-114 win on the road in Milwaukee against the Bucks. And I think there is a lot of positives to take from this one. I think the biggest takeaway off the top of my head right away is we said 2 weeks ago, I believe the conversation happened on March 4th, so not even 2 weeks ago, a week ago. The Suns have to take advantage of playing these teams under 500. At that time on March 4th, they have 9 games in their final 21 at that point that were against teams under 500. This year, they've been winning at about an 800 clip against teams under 500. So, simple math brings you to they should be 7-2 in that 9-game stretch. It started with a loss against the Chicago Bulls and in a game we all felt, gosh, they were right there and maybe should have won that one. But string some together over the weekend, grab 2 of those wins against teams under 500. Oh, and pick one up against the Charlotte Hornets in the midst of that as well. And now we're talking about a Suns team that has strung 3 wins in a row and is at 2-1 in those opportunities we have seen against teams under 500. That's the one thing that's been so successful for the Suns all year, right? And I think we've talked about this extensively. I know Chris and I have. This team has done a great job of handling their business. Seeing teams like the Milwaukee Bucks last night, who, let's face it, have been a roller coaster this year, and saying, hey, we're good. Let's handle our business. And I think that game was probably closer than, not that we wanted it or maybe that we thought it could be, but it was a good fight there for a while for the Milwaukee Bucks. But a 29-point fourth quarter compared to the Milwaukee Bucks 17 propels the Suns to a 15-point win over the Milwaukee Bucks on the road. And again, one of the biggest things from last night is how good was Jalen Green. Jalen Green again last night, 33 minutes, 25 points, 10 of 20 from the field. 7 of those misses came from beyond the arc. He took 10 threes. I think I want him attacking the rim, attacking the basket. I think that's where his strengths lie. I think that's what he does best. But you're seeing it with Jalen Green, right? When they added Jalen Green in the Kevin Durant trade with Dylan Brooks, I think we all thought Jalen Green consistently was going to be their second best scorer, was going to be the guy they could rely on outside of Devin Booker. And it just, for injuries, for not playing as many games with Devin Booker, really hasn't come to fruition. And last night was another example, building off of what happened Sunday, of what Jalen Green can add to this basketball team. 25 points in 33 minutes and went 3 for 10 from beyond the arc. So it was great inside the paint. Jalen Green attacking the rim is exactly what this team needs. And I'm telling you, there was a lot of notes, a lot of positives from this basketball game last night. That's just kind of what the Suns have been recently. Over the last 2 games, I think we could sit down here and say, honestly, there are positives to take from the Charlotte game. There are positives to take from the Milwaukee game, and we could take it back. By the way, sorry, I know we typically have a schedule here. Chris locked his office. He's got the red Sharpie. We're going to have to update that when he gets back. But I do have the schedule here. We will add that W as soon as we get back. But in all seriousness, a win against New Orleans, a win against Charlotte, a win at Milwaukee. Taking advantage of the opportunities you have. And it just continues, right? You're at Indiana on Thursday. It's another team that struggled this year. And now we're talking about a team that has strung 4 in a row, if they're able to win at Indiana. But I want to get back into it because Devin Booker and Jalen Green, again, fantastic last night. There was flashes throughout the year where you were missing Jalen Green. And I kind of always said, right, like it was a different guy every night, right? Like Colin Gillespie would give you something that you didn't think you could get out of him. You would have a big night from Grayson Allen. Dylan Brooks had countless big nights that led the Suns to win. There was always a different hero. Rasheer Fleming continues to come onto his own, and offensively, not saying it was the best night for Rasheer Fleming last night. I think he had 4 points on the 1 bucket. But outside of that, he was really good defensively again. And we're going to get into what I believe Kaman Malawach. I wanted to do a whole segment, so we'll get into that on hour number 2. But how about Kaman Malawach? There's been a lot of talk about Brian Gregory's draft class. A lot of talk. Kaman Malawach coming out, and over the last 3 games since Mark Williams' injury, has gotten minutes, an opportunity. 20 minutes in back-to-back games over the weekend. 15 last night. Last night was probably, despite the low total and 8 points, his best offensive output. I thought he was awesome from around the rim. He took the 1-3. He was 0 for 1, but outside of that was 4 for 4 from inside the arc, from inside the paint. Was extremely efficient down by the rim. And again, a lot of positives to be taken from what Kaman Malawach was able to do it last night. Would I like to see him have more rebounds? Certainly. He had 0 last night. That's kind of an issue. But you are seeing him come into his own. You are seeing him grow as a player. And I think there are little aspects we're seeing in this game and little aspects we're seeing in the next, certainly. But we are seeing those aspects grow right before our eyes. Ton of positives last night. I think when you were watching the Suns last night, not saying they don't get frustrating at times. They certainly do. 11 turnovers. But they are growing together. And I've said this before. Jalen Green, Devin Booker have not played a lot of basketball together. Really just haven't. And last night, again, an example of them growing and playing basketball better together. They handled the Milwaukee Bucks. And I know it's not one of those games where Chris and I have said, maybe you can pull away and start sitting guys in the fourth quarter. It probably wasn't that for the Suns. But a win's a win. And a win against a team below 500 is a win against a team below 500. Another opportunity for the Phoenix Suns. That's what it's all about. They continue to do it. A 129-114 win for the Phoenix Suns last night. They have Indiana on Thursday. And man, I don't even know what to do. I'm so pumped about what happened last night. And like I said, Jalen Green, not as effective attacking the rim as maybe we'd want to, but another step forward for Jalen Green. 3 in a row for the Suns. Needed to go 7-2 in that 9 we said that they have against teams under 500. Off to a rocky start when they lost to Chicago last week. But so far, they've righted that ship. A win against New Orleans, a win last night against Milwaukee. They have Indiana on Thursday. They can continue to make it 3-1. They got a win against Charlotte in the middle of it. And Charlotte, another team, by the way, that I said this yesterday in our first show back from the weekend. Charlotte, well, we're not accustomed to saying, oh my gosh, the Hornets are that team. Well, they are one of the hotter teams in the NBA. And Suns handled them with ease. So that's it. Suns get a 129-114 win on the road. 3 in a row for them. And we got a packed show for you. We got a ton of fun stuff coming up in this show. I told you how crazy everything was last night. Again, Ravens backed out of the Max Crosby deal. USA lost to Team Italy. They have a plethora of situations where they could get in to the next round. They have situations where they could lose out into the next round. But Mark DeRosa handled that extremely poorly. It felt like maybe they had thought they punched their ticket to the next round. Turns out they had not. And they seemed to have punt on last night before realizing, oh, tonight's really going to count for this team. And Bam Adebayo, I want to get into that at the end of hour number 1. Bam Adebayo dropped 83 points last night against the Washington Wizards. That is now second all-time behind Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game. Who would have thought it would be Bam Adebayo? But next, the Cardinals offseason motors along. They made an addition. We have a big question to ask. Did Team Tank win the argument? We'll get into all of that next. Thanks for hanging out with us on the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060.
Join in on the Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Beerstein.
When your average fan goes to an NBA game, it doesn't matter if it's game 1 or game 82. Everyone healthy should be on the court getting 110% max effort. We've seen what a player like Victor Wembanyama could do to a franchise. All the greatest of the greats, when they hit the franchise, their team becomes an instant playoff team. I hate when players that are healthy are not playing in a regular season game.
Live weekdays from 5 to 6 p.m. here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app. Life can change in an instant. If you're hurt in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident, everything can feel overwhelming. The pain, the stress, and the uncertainty of what comes next. You don't have to go through it alone. The attorneys at Sweet James understand the physical, emotional, and financial impact an accident can have. They're here to help you navigate the legal process and pursue the compensation you may be entitled to under the law. When you call Sweet James, you're connecting with a team of attorneys experienced in handling serious injury cases. Their work is driven by preparation, advocacy, and a genuine commitment to helping clients seek accountability and justice. Every case is different, and outcomes depend on the specific facts involved. If you've been injured in an accident, call the attorneys at Sweet James for your free case review. They handle everything for you so you can focus on healing. That's the Sweet James advantage. Help available 24/7. If you've been injured, call Sweet James for a free case review. Hablamos Español. 800-900-800-900-0000. SweetJames.com. This advertisement is paid for by Sweet James LLP. Responsible attorney, Bobby Tick Heavy. Offices in California. No guarantee of results.
Florence and the Machine presents the Everybody Scream Tour. Live at Desert Diamond Arena, Saturday, May 9th. The incomparable Florence and the Machine returns. With special guest, Mannequin Pussy. On sale now at livenation.com. The new album, Everybody Scream, available now.
Everybody scream.
Every day begins with the promise of something new. A new perspective, a fresh start. At Banner Health, right here, right now, we're pioneering new ways to treat cancer with our own immune systems. We're among the first to treat Parkinson's with the patient's own cells. And we're a world leader in artificial heart implantation, all while training over 1,300 doctors every year. Impressive, right? It's just another Banner day. Banner Health.
Jim Rome here with your Rome Report. Even with all the insanity we saw on the first day of the legal tampering period, I still think the most dramatic move of all was Baltimore taking that enormous swing last Friday for Max Crosby. And no, I did not see Las Vegas getting 2 first-round picks for Max. And yes, he'll be 29 soon and coming off his 8th surgery in 7 years. But no, they did not overpay for him. They couldn't rush the passer at all last year. They haven't been able to find that killer to come off the edge in several years. And then all of a sudden, a stud that we all assume would spend his entire career with the Raiders comes free and clear. Of course you make that deal because Max is a QB killer. He's awesome against the run, and he'll do what he's always done. Crack skulls and lead from the front. And if you're the Ravens, you make that deal because you're in it to win it right now, not build it. The Raiders did the right thing in freeing Max. The Ravens did the right thing in meeting their price. I like it for both, but most of all, I love it for Crosby. I'm Jim Rome. And remember, you can always follow me on Instagram at Jim Rome.
O'Reilly.
Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
KDUS AM 1060 is your home for the Jim Rome Show.
Indiana is not cheating. Lining up and punching the other guy in the face for 60 minutes, not against the rules. I challenge any of you social media whistleblowers to tell Kurt Signetti to his face that he is a cheater.
The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, here on KDUS AM 1060. Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Oh, welcome into the lunch break. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Middle of the week. Again, my name's Evan Reiser, filling in for Chris Schubert. Hope Chris is having a great vacation. Hope everybody's having a fantastic Wednesday. Hope everybody's having a fantastic week. We'll get right into it. Don't be afraid, by the way, to give me a call, 480-864-1060. Would love to have you on. You want to talk about the Suns' big win last night and everything they've done over the weekend and last night. You want to talk about the Cardinals' offseason. That's what we'll get into right here. Don't be afraid to give me a call, 480-864-1060. If you could call me during the break, by the way, give me a chance to answer the phone while I'm not on air. That would be lovely. But I have to ask the question about the Cardinals offseason. Because did Team Tank win? Those fighting in our YouTube chat, and I know they're going to let me hear it here. By the way, don't be afraid to check out the YouTube over at KDUS AM 1060 on YouTube. A lot of active members of the YouTube chat. You can comment, talk to us over there. Always give us a phone call, again, at 480-864-1060. But I know our YouTube chat has been active. And After moving on from Kyler Murray, is it time to play for 2027? I think that was a big question for a lot of people this offseason. And I guess my question is if the Cardinals showed that this offseason. With everything they've done, and it started with missing out on Malik Willis. It started when Malik Willis signed a 3-year, $67 million deal with the Miami Dolphins. He will be the next quarterback in South Beach. And the Cardinals pivoted, went and signed Gardner Minshew to a 1-year deal, and felt like they attacked the backup quarterback position. And it's been reported as it sits right now, Jacoby Brissett will be the starter, and things could change in any given moment, but looks like Jacoby Brissett will be the starter for the Arizona Cardinals in 2026. So I have to ask the question, are the Cardinals doing the fiscally responsible thing? Are they heading in to what is going to be a rebuild? And does it start with what they're going to build in the trenches? We knew this team needed an upgrade at the offensive line. We had said time and time again on this show, they were going to need to add probably 3 offensive linemen. It started Monday, when they added Isaac Seumalo, the former Pittsburgh Steeler guard, a guy who has played at both guard positions. And then yesterday they added to it. They added a former Philadelphia Eagle, Matt Pryor. Pryor played in 109 games as a member of the Eagles, started 40 of them. He's an extremely versatile guy. He can move up and down the offensive line, can give you games at both guard, can give you games at tackle. He really can do a lot for you on the offensive line. So we know the Cardinals are going to make an effort to build offensive line. I believe they are going to do it in the draft as well. Offensive and defensive line with the 3rd pick, with a 2nd round pick, maybe a 1st round pick. Yesterday we had talked about them maybe trading in to the 1st round to select Ty Simpson. And I guess my biggest question is, well, a rebuild may be the right move. I'm confused as to if rebuild was the move, why is it with Monty Ossenfort? You're going to trust Monty Ossenfort to make this team better in 4, 3 years, whatever it is. Could be 5. Who knows? That's the guy we're going to trust. Because take it back. Rewind the clock here with me, everybody. He takes the job in, what is that, 22, 23? And the video goes viral. Everybody loves it, of them taking Paris Johnson and moving up the draft board, moving down the draft board, and getting their guy. And it was a great day for Monty Ossenfort. And we knew it was going to be a bad first year, and it was. And then in 2024, it felt like they had won more games than we had expected. And it felt like it was time to push the envelope a little. Make that next step forward. Maybe we're in a faster retool, rebuild than we had thought. Maybe the Cardinals could string together 9 wins this year. Maybe they could get 10 wins. They went 3-14. Monty Ossenfort, in his time as the general manager, has a career 15 wins. 15. Has yet to draft a Pro Bowler. And while I think Paris Johnson was right and has been a good player for this team, still has yet to draft a Pro Bowler. Walter Nolan, I think, has showed flashes. They had the 4th overall pick, and they got it wrong. Period. The end. They got it wrong. And whether the belief was, well, you could have put 32 teams in the 4th pick, and I think all 32 of them would have selected Marvin Harrison Jr. And I know there's people that will tell me that. I know there's people that will say, well, Marvin Harrison Jr. was the obvious pick there. It does not matter. They got it wrong. They have a general manager who has 15 wins in 3 years. Hasn't drafted a Pro Bowler. Name one free agent he's brought in who's had a massive impact on this organization and this team. Josh Sweat, yeah, it was a nice piece last year. They spent a lot of money. They went out there, they did a nice thing and brought in Josh Sweat. Did he have the impact we all believed, we all hoped he could have? What has Monty Ossenfort done, and what does he do well? If you were sitting here today as a Monty Ossenfort defender, how would you honestly sit here and say, well, he's done X, Y, Z, and I think he should still be the general manager of this team? I honestly, I don't know. And so if you're entering this rebuild, doesn't it feel like Michael Bidwell has played this wrong again? Again, we're going down the same road we went to before. We're entering another rebuild. We're going to let Monty Ossenfort, the guy who I just gave you his resume, we're going to let that guy choose the next quarterback of this organization. We're going to let that guy lead this organization through the next era of Cardinals football. I don't think that's the right move. And if you were going to move on from Jonathan Gannon, it felt like you had to move on from Monty Ossenfort. They chose not to do so. And now, just 2.5 days into free agency, I sit back in my chair and I say, these are the moves of a team that is playing for 2027. So I think the plan is clear. I think what the Cardinals have done is showed us what their plan is. I don't think it's to play for 2026. If that's the case, how long of a leash does Monty Ossenfort have? Because Chris and I sat on this program and we said, well, I don't think they can punt in 2026. And I know we tend to be positive at times about the teams here in town. But we said we don't think they can punt in 2026 because Monty Ossenfort can't have another 3-14 year. Can't have a 4-win season and survive on the other half of it. I think the way they handle free agency, the way he's attacked free agency, that doesn't look like a general manager to me that feels he has to win X amount of games to keep his job. That feels as if he does not have to keep this organization relevant in 2026 to keep his job. It feels like a general manager who just took over a job, knows where the organization is at, and knows he has a little bit of leash to play with. Can play to draft his quarterback, to get the guys in the building that he wants to do. Well, Monty had that opportunity. And 3 years ago, we gave him that leeway. We said, hey, let Monty bring in the guys he wants to bring in. Let him get a few draft classes under his belt. Let him move on from Kyler Murray. We're going to let him move on from Kyler Murray. That's certainly true. Monty Ossenfort is going to be the guy seemingly to select the next quarterback for this organization. And it will take Jacoby Brissett as the bridge quarterback to get so. So I ask once again, is the plan clear? Have the Cardinals showed us their hand in what they've done in the first 2.5 days of free agency. Is it a wrap on 2026? Are they choosing to play for 2027? Well, it wasn't just the Cardinals active in free agency. There was a ton of news across the NFL yesterday and this morning. I want to get into all of it, what it may mean for the rest of the league, because there was news out of Baltimore and Las Vegas yesterday. We will get into that next. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the lunch break on KDUS AM 1060.
Every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. is MMA Friday on the Sports Zoo with official UFC ranker Scott Lewis, brought to you by RTO Sullivan's, your home for every UFC event. The Sports Zoo is the only show in the Valley that gives you 1 full hour of MMA every week, featuring Scott Lewis's official UFC ranking changes, fight predictions for every weekly event, shocking MMA stories, and more. So tune in every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. and then head to RTO Sullivan's every Saturday to watch the fights. Go to RTOSullivans.com for a location near you.
This ain't pop. This ain't pretty. This is Southern hospitality. The Black Crows, Whiskey Myers, blues-soaked guitars, outlaw swagger. Rock and roll the way it was meant to be. Loud, raw, and real. The Southern Hospitality Tour. The Black Crows, Whiskey Myers. Saturday, August 15th. Mortgage Matchup Center. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com.
It's the Shamrockin' RV sale at Little Dealer, Little Prices. Right now, take home a lightweight, family-friendly Westbrook 27cc for just $25,995. That's thousands less than the competition on a bunkhouse travel trailer. Plus, scratch off your savings and unlock up to $5,000 in added savings and incentives. Available in-store and online. Unbeatable pricing, massive selection, and service support you deserve. Don't wait. Shop online or in-store at Little Dealer, Little Prices today. Inventory subject to availability. Scratch off savings and incentives vary. Maximum savings not guaranteed. Terms and conditions may apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 31st, 2026.
Your dental health affects your whole body's wellness. Got a broken tooth or need a crown? At Arizona Crown Center, you can expect care focused on crowns and bridges for just $6.99 per tooth, including your x-ray. That's less than half the usual cost. With Arizona Crown Center, expect top quality, efficient treatment backed by a 3-year unconditional guarantee, and even same-day service. They keep it simple and affordable, so you can enjoy the foods you love without worry. Plus, their friendly team makes every visit comfortable and easy. Whether it's your first crown or replacing an old one, they personalize your care to fit you. That's something to really smile about. Don't live with discomfort. Visit azcrowncenter.com for your free consultation today. Serving the Valley for over 20 years with offices in Chandler, Surprise, and Prescott. Get premium dental crowns and bridges at a price that fits your budget. azcrowncenter.com. That's azcrowncenter.com. Your smile's best friend.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights, at home or at work. We'll make your happy place your own. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Hello, everybody. Eric Bryan.
And Gina Bryan.
Owners of Precision Air and Plumbing.
When we talk about precision, we're not just talking about business. We're talking about our name and reputation.
A lot of companies claim they're local, but they're not. They've been bought out, answering to shareholders.
Homes turn into numbers and priorities turn into profits, not customers.
Not here. We'll be here long after the job is done. Make the precision decision. Call 602-FIX-MY-AC.
Make a precision decision with Precision Air.
Have you tried my Colombian tamales?
Yes, but the Mexican tamales I brought are way better.
Colombian tamales wrapped in plantain leaves are unmatched, you know.
But the Mexican tamales wrapped in corn husks are the authentic ones.
At least we can agree that they taste better with Pepsi.
Without a doubt, tamales deserve Pepsi. No matter what tamales you love, enter for a chance to win a year's worth of groceries. Powered by Pepsi. No purchase necessary. U.S. residents 18 or over. Ends April 5th, 2026. Rules at PepsiPromo.com/free groceries. Pepsi is a registered trademark of PepsiCo.
Join ASU Baseball for another weekend series right here on KDUS AM 1060. This Friday evening, we join the Sun Devils as they square off against TCU. Coach Willie Bloomquist is more than ready to lead his team to another win as they open up conference play in 2026. Start your weekend with ASU and TCU in the Diamond this Friday Friday night. Pregame at 6:15 p.m. and first pitch at 6:35 p.m. right here on KDUS AM 1060, online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS app.
Welcome back in. It's Wednesday, and you are listening to The Lunch Break. Thank you for hanging out with us. I'm Evan Reiser, filling in for Chris Schubert today. Chris on vacation. I got to tell you, sometimes, especially coming out in and out of segments, it's a little strange because typically I'm hitting this button just to have Chris and tell me, like give him a "you're live," mic's on, something. Yeah, I try to mix it up, give him something a little fun. But it's strange now, turning my mic on, and every time I start a segment, I feel as if I'm going to say, "You're live," talking to myself. But no, it's the Wednesday edition of The Lunch Break. I am filling in for Chris Schubert. My name is Evan Reiser, and it's been a crazy 3 days here as legal tampering started, as free agency started for the NFL. I was on vacation with my family on Monday, and it was just like you don't check your phone for 10 minutes. And in that 10-minute span, Jalen Phillips had signed a 4-year, $120 million deal. Michael Pittman had been traded. Alec Pierce was signed left and right. Travis Etienne was going to the Falcons, like left and right. Things were happening, and it was hard to keep up with. But a lot of news in the NFL. Free agency is always kind of a ton of fun, gives you a little bit of new hope for a lot of teams across the NFL. I don't think there's much hope for the Cardinals, as we kind of covered last segment, but I want to get into it from an NFL's perspective. We gave you everything the Cardinals had done. We talked about if there's a clear plan for them. But from across the league, I think the craziest story of the day yesterday, outside of Bam Adebayo dropping 83 points on the Washington Wizards, which I want to get into in the next segment. The Ravens officially backed out of a trade with the Las Vegas Raiders yesterday that would have sent Max Crosby to them in exchange for 2 first-round picks. And it's not every day that you see a team do the physical and come back and say, "Hey, we're okay. We're gonna back out of this one." And well, Max Crosby has gotten his fair share of surgeries, his fair share of injuries. When he was traded to the Ravens for 2 first-round picks, you look back and you say, well, that's a lot. And when you look at it this way, last year when the Ravens drafted Mike Green in the first round, he came in and led the team in sacks. And I know what you're thinking. And wow, he had a great rookie year, must have had 8, 9, maybe double-digit sacks. No. Mike Green had 3.5 sacks and led the Ravens last year. So they went out, made the big deal for Max Crosby, did the physical, decided not our guy, and backed out. Did they get cold feet on spending that kind of money? Did they get cold feet on giving up 2 first-round picks? You wondered all of that at the time, and immediately you don't think it's about the money. Because it wasn't long after this morning, they pivoted and signed Trey Hendrickson to a 4-year, $112 million deal to be the next premier pass rusher for the Baltimore Ravens. They went in division. They contacted the former Cincinnati Bengal, and they brought in Trey Hendrickson. And I guess that begs the question for Max Crosby and for the Raiders is, one, how bad is it? Right? And you look back at, let's talk about a very similar situation to the Suns. It wasn't last year when the Lakers made a trade for Mark Williams at the trade deadline, the NBA trade deadline added Mark Williams, did his physical, and decided, nope, we're okay, thank you. And then draft rolls around, and the Suns make the move. Suns add Mark Williams. So I guess that's my question. Are we going to see something similar with Max Crosby? Because I don't think there's a lot of us that think we're going to see him line up, put on the silver and the black, and play for the Raiders this year. I think a lot of us feel as if he'll get moved. And the other question is, does the price tag move with it? It was 2 firsts for the Ravens. Is it 1 first, then another pick, a day 2, possibly a day 3 pick after a failed physical? Is it a first and a player? All of those questions are now going to be answered. But the NFL free agency keeps moving on. And more news this morning. We talked about it after the Colts put a transition tag on quarterback Daniel Jones, who was fantastic last year before his injury. They officially signed Daniel Jones to a 2-year, $88 million deal that could end up being slightly north of $100 million. And I got to tell you, the sticker prices on these contracts just continue to blow everybody away. I mean, in all honesty, like, you look at that and you think, wow, a 2-year, $88 million deal, $44 million a year AAV on that. But you watch the cap continue to grow, and it makes sense for the Colts. You didn't tie yourself something long-term. You didn't put yourself in a situation where you're going to be paying Daniel Jones' contract 4 or 5 years down the line. Yeah, you're able to spend the money now. And you know Daniel Jones may not give you much, if anything, in 2026, 2027. But you're playing for 2 years down the line, 2027, 2028. And I think reports had come out that keeping Alec Pierce was a big part in Daniel Jones coming back. So it's been an expensive offseason for the Colts because not only did they sign Daniel Jones to an extension, but they signed Alec Pierce as well. And it's been expensive, but they get their quarterback. And free agency just continues to move on. There are plenty of guys available. The Cardinals have money, and today I'm questioning if they're going to continue to spend that money. How much are they going to attack the rest of free agency? Are they going to let some of that carry over into next year, try to play for 2027? Will they add a rookie quarterback this offseason? Will they do that next year? All of those questions up in the air. But going back and circling back to the Max Crosby conversation, it's interesting because, and a lot of times, we see it in baseball, we'll see it in the NFL, sometimes it's the first domino to fall. Max Crosby this offseason was the first domino to fall. And it kind of sets the tone for what other teams are going to do. When other teams didn't land Max Crosby, they may have said, oh, okay, we need to go add an edge rusher. Jalen Phillips, one of the best edge rushers available, went pretty early into free agency to the Carolina Panthers. Again, a 4-year, $120 million deal. And after Max Crosby is gone, we see the Ravens pivot to Trey Hendrickson and go get one of the best defensive ends on the market this offseason. So the domino fell early, and now it's standing back up. So are we going to see this feeding frenzy come back to the Raiders? Are we going to see people continue to call about Max Crosby? And how does any of it affect what the Cardinals can do in free agency? Does the edge market open up? I guess that's my biggest takeaway. Now that the number one edge available in trade or via free agency is still out there. And there are going to be teams that are going to try and move some money around, not spend as much because they think they have a shot at Max Crosby? Does that affect the edge market enough to allow Cardinals kind of slip between the cracks and bring in one of these edges still available in free agency? I want to get into all of the guys still available in free agency, all of the guys that I think could be valuable for the Cardinals, not only in 2026, but maybe in 2027 and down the line. So we're going to do that in hour number 2. I know no Chris here. We're not going to be doing our newfound draft list, but I want to do a list of my top 5 players still available that I think would make sense for the Cardinals. It was a crazy day in sports yesterday. We talked about Max Crosby, but maybe the story of the night. An 83-point night for Bam Adebayo. I want to get into all of it after he dominated the Washington Wizards on what ended up being a crazy Tuesday night. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for listening. Again, don't be afraid to give us a call, 480-864-1060. Check us out over on the YouTube on KDUS AM 1060. You can be active in the chat over there. We'll get into all of it about Bam Adebayo next here on the lunch break on KDUS AM 1060.
Every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. is MMA Friday on the Sports Zoo with official UFC ranker Scott Lewis, brought to you by RTO Sullivan's, your home for every UFC event. The Sports Zoo is the only show in the Valley that gives you 1 full hour of MMA every week, featuring Scott Lewis's official UFC ranking changes, fight predictions for every weekly event, shocking MMA stories, and more. So tune in every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. and then head to RTO Sullivan's every Saturday to watch the fights. Go to RTOSullivans.com for a location near you.
Stained. Break the Cycle 25th Anniversary Tour. Featuring Seether. Stained. October 13th. Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater. With special guests, Hoobastank and Hinder. Tickets are on sale now at livenation.com. Part of the America First Credit Union series.
Low T, start for free for a limited time. Get prescription testosterone therapy with no startup fee, only at Red Mountain Weight Loss. Just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to feel older. Prescription testosterone gives you more energy, stamina, and it'll help you lose weight and lose that dad bod for good. You'll also think better, sleep better, and your love life will be better. Look, don't be fooled. Nothing boosts testosterone like actual testosterone. So skip the gimmicks and get prescription strength testosterone now at Red Mountain Weight Loss. It's a game changer. So don't wait. If you've got low T, get started for free. Meet with a board-certified medical provider online with no waiting from the convenience of your home or office. Book today and feel like yourself again. Only at Red Mountain Weight Loss. Go to redmountainweightloss.com or dial pound 250 on your phone. Keyword Red Mountain. Red Mountain Weight Loss. Real testosterone. Real doctors. Real results.
With a Global Credit Card, you earn reward points for every purchase. Use your rewards at checkout at many of your favorite stores. Or use points instead of cash when you shop online. You can even use them to book a flight up to 3 days in advance. New York, Vegas, Albuquerque. From groceries to getaways, redeem your way. Apply for your Global Credit Card now at globalcu.org. Global Credit Union, your world of financial possibilities.
KDUS AM 1060 is your home for the Jim Rome Show.
I'm not here to bury Mike Tomlin, but the fact is, this absolutely is the right move. He did the right thing, and he fired himself. All good things come to an end. Going a decade without winning a single playoff game is not meeting the standard.
The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, here on KDUS AM 1060. Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Wrapping up hour number 1 of the lunch break. Thanks again for hanging out with us, whether you're on the KDUS AM 1060 app, whether you're on the dial on the road or on the YouTube channel. Thank you for listening, however you choose to do so. Last night, kind of probably the top sports story of the night, and I thought it deserved its own segment. This is typically something we would do in the leftovers, but I wanted to get to it because Bam Adebayo, let me read you the stat line. In 42 minutes, 83 points, 20 of 43 from the field, 7 of 22 from beyond the arc, 36 of 43 free throws. There it is. 83 points. He shot 43 times from the line. It is the second most points scored in an NBA game. Obviously, we've all heard about Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game. Bam Adebayo clocks in at second after Kobe's 81-point performance. There it is. The 81 points that Kobe dropped against the New York Knicks. Probably never thought that would get past. It has been 83 points from a guy we wouldn't really even consider a scorer. From a guy we truly would not consider an NBA scorer. And while you could give me a guess of every player in the NBA to score 83 points and pass Kobe's 81, I think I would guess, in all honesty, 60 names before I got to Bam Adebayo. And that's not a knock on what Bam is as a player. He's a great player, a very good player. But 83 points, I don't know if I would have ever guessed Bam Adebayo. Let's get into the numbers from beyond the arc because 22 shots from three, that is the third most three-point attempts in a game by an NBA player. And those numbers just continue to get more eye-popping because from the free throw line, 36 of 43, both of those records. The most made free throws in a game with 36. The most free throws attempted in an NBA game with 43. And I see a lot of talk on social media, and I'm interested to see what people think in the YouTube. Because what Bam Adebayo did last night was impressive. I don't care how you look at it. To score a number like 83 points, to shoot 43 free throws, you have to be good. You have to be making the opportunity of when you get the ball. And I know what the talk track around social media, around the game is. That can't happen. A player like Bam Adebayo can't shoot 43 free throws. Nobody should be taking 43 free throws in a game. That's NBA officiating. And I see people up in arms that he was able to score that much and pass Kobe. And people are upset about it because they played the Wizards and it happened the way it happened. I got to tell you, I think that's a little lame. What we witnessed last night was history. And if there wasn't a person who got the ESPN alert that Bam Adebayo had 60 points and was like, wow, what a night from Bam, and then realized, oh my God, there's like 6 minutes left in the third quarter, and didn't say, okay, let's go check that out. I think it's crazy. It's crazy what he was able to do last night. And I understand why people are upset about the NBA officiating. I think it's always going to come up. I understand why people are upset he took 43 free throws. But those weren't cheap. Those were earned. Those weren't ticky-tack fouls by the Washington Wizards. No. They were hard in a lot of cases. They were hard fouls. And he went to the line, he knocked them both down. And last night, finished with the second most points in an NBA game. I'm interested to see how everybody in the YouTube chat feels. And John over on the YouTube chat said, is he better than Booker now? God, they're hard players to compare. Apples and oranges of what they do. But you rewind the clock back to Devin Booker's 70-point game. And I guess because of what they do differently, people are going to have this conversation of what's more impressive. Is it Bam Adebayo's 83? Is it Devin Booker's 70? And I guess my question is, why can't they both be impressive in their own right? They happened in different ways. And while I'm one of the biggest Kobe fans, was a Kobe fan growing up, it's hard not to look at what happened last night in Heat Wizards and say, what a piece of NBA history. What a thing to look back on. What a thing to remember where you were. I think just last night as a whole, like at one point I went for a quick run, went into the shower, and I opened the bathroom door. My roommate goes, Evan. I was like, yeah, how you doing? He's like, Ravens just backed out of a trade. Ravens just backed out of the trade. I'm like, what? So we're watching NFL Network. A couple hours later, we get an alert. Bam Adebayo has 60 points. We realize it's the third quarter. You flip on. Before you blink, the U.S. is down 3-0 to Italy in one of the biggest upsets in WBC history, in a game that ended up coming down to the final strike. So, I mean, it was a crazy Tuesday night. And while you might be upset with how Bam Adebayo's 83 happened and how many free throws he took and how many free throws he made to get there, don't let that take away from the accomplishment it was last night. Hour number 1 in the books. We get into hour number 2 here next. And we'll start with the news. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. He's back in the lineup today. Thanks for hanging out with us.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
A small commitment at least one day a week helps reduce ground level ozone pollution and helps us all breathe easier. Avoid idling, turn off your engine when waiting in pickup lines and drive-thrus. Commit to one day and help keep ozone away. Visit maricopa.gov/AQ to learn how you can help.
Motley Crue, the return of the Carnival of Sins. September 16th, Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater. The Crew celebrates the 20th anniversary of Carnival of Sins. Motley Crue, with performances by Tesla and Extreme. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Motley Crue, part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
Before Arizona heat turns unbearable, get your AC ready with Ace Cooling, Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. Whether you need an AC tune-up, fast repair, or a new energy-efficient system, Ace helps keep your home cool, comfortable, and efficient all summer long. Beat the rush. Call Ace today at 602-536-4475 for free estimates and expert service. That's 602-536-4475. Or visit us online at acehomeaz.com. Acing Arizona's comfort needs since '94.
Been crazy busy these days? Sounds like you could use a little we time. That means playtime at the AAA 4-Diamond Wecopa Casino Resort. Game time with more than 900 slots plus table games. Maybe a tea time on one of 2 nationally ranked courses. And definitely some hang time at WKP Sportsbook, the largest sportsbook in the state. Wecopa Casino Resort. It's we time.
Hi, this is Jan from Toyota. You're currently listening to my new meditation guide called Meditating with Jan from Toyota. Take a moment to find a comfortable position. Now soften your focus and visualize yourself off-roading in a rugged new Tacoma. Now, take a deep breath in. Not too deep because that's patchouli you're smelling, and imagine taking a Corolla Cross to a music festival. Next, picture a bright light ahead. You're hitting the town in a sleek new Camry. Now engage your senses. What do you hear? A donkey. That's what you heard because you're in a farm sanctuary now in a spacious new Grand Highlander. When you're ready, take a final deep breath in and go from dreaming it to driving it today. That's Jan's meditation.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends March 31st. Toyota, let's go places.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
It's hour number 2 of the Wednesday edition of the lunch break. And it starts with maybe some good news here in the Valley. I think we've covered our fair share of bad news with the Cardinals and maybe their free agency plans. But some things are looking up. And maybe it's a return date for Corbin Carroll. Because Corbin Carroll will be today's designated hitter back from his broken hamate bone. He will be the Arizona Diamondbacks designated hitter today against the A's at home at Salt River Fields. Torey Lovello announced that yesterday. We will have Corbin Carroll back. And I guess my questions kind of start with what should we expect from Corbin Carroll? I know he got some at-bats on Monday at practice on some backfields. He was swinging pain-free and to prepare for opening day, which now less than 3 weeks away. I want to, 15 days away from opening day on March 26th. It's time to start getting Corbin Carroll back in the lineup just 1 month after his surgery to the day. So Corbin Carroll will be today's designated hitter for the Diamondbacks. And again, what can we expect from Corbin Carroll? Because we know with a broken hamate, we've seen it before. The power seems to go away. And not wholeheartedly, but it takes some time as, the bone in your hand starts to heal to get the power back. And while we can expect the same approach, we can expect Corbin Carroll to still be an effective player on the base path, and don't expect Corbin Carroll to not be Corbin Carroll out in the field. But I think there's some concerns about whether his power will be there this year. With all that being said, it's nice because it typically takes these guys, 6 to 8 weeks to really feel great in getting back. And having that clock start in spring training is only going to help Corbin. I'm interested to see how they're going to deploy him over these last 2 weeks. Are they going to ease him in? Obviously, today he's going to be the designated hitter. But are they going to continue to kind of ease him in? Are we going to see him in the outfield? Obviously, we know with him playing today, it looks like we are certainly going to see him on opening day, which is great news. But today he's hitting leadoff. They're going to try and get him as many at-bats as possible. And I imagine they'll do that for the rest of spring. Like when you have a guy like Corbin Carroll who's had an abbreviated spring, is it in your best interest to continue to get him out there for at-bats? Or do you slow play it a little? Make sure he's ready for opening day. You don't want to rush him back from this broken hamate, because I guess my question is, if this happened just a few weeks later and he came back the third game of the year, second series, whatever it is, you wouldn't really ease him in. You would just let him go. We've seen this injury before. So I expect Corbin Carroll to play a lot down the stretch here in the last 2 weeks of spring training. And then expect him to be the guy on opening day in right field. I don't think you have anything else to expect. And yesterday we did a whole segment on Ryan Waldschmidt and Jordan Lawler, and if these young guys are forcing the D-backs' hand, I think we all know we are going to see Jordan Lawler start and play every day in left field for the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2026, at least for the beginning part of the season. We'll see how it goes. But he's off to a great start in spring. He's been swinging the bat really well, learning the new position. So we expect Jordan Lawler to be the everyday left fielder for this team. And the competition starts in center. Because Ryan Waldschmidt, who has been fantastic this spring, we knew they were going to need a guy like Waldschmidt to be a huge piece. But Alec Thomas has fended him off well. We talked about in the U.S. game, yes, he had the 4 Ks. He was the last out. I get it all. But has been good across the WBC and across his starts in spring. So has Alec Thomas done enough to fend off Ryan Waldschmidt, and has Waldschmidt forced the hand? Because with Corbin Carroll coming back and playing today and getting acclimated in spring and being ready for opening day, which we are all excited for because, listen, this team would not be the same without Corbin Carroll. We talk about all the time how heavy this top 4 is for the Diamondbacks. It's a top 4, and then that lineup feels like it really gets a little weaker, 5 through 9. But it's Carroll, it's Marte, it's Perdomo, it's Moreno. And today you get one of those 4 back. You get one of your perennial MVP candidates back in the lineup. And what was concerned that Corbin Carroll could miss maybe the opening series of the year against the Dodgers. What was concerned that we may not see Corbin Carroll maybe for a week into the season. All that's out the window because he's back just a month after surgery and forces a competition in center field between 2 guys that have been swinging the bat exceptionally in spring. Ryan Waldschmidt and Alec Thomas will battle for center field as Corbin Carroll is back and working his way to be ready for opening this team on March 26th when they take on the Dodgers in LA. So welcome back, Corbin Carroll. But that wasn't the only news, by the way, that Torey Lovello was able to give yesterday. Merrill Kelly, do we have a date for a return? Merrill Kelly will start Friday's game in surprise against the Kansas City Royals. He will pitch just 1 inning as his back issue set him back from stretching out for the regular season. But we will see Merrill Kelly pitch on Friday. And we don't know exactly what they're going to get out of Merrill Kelly. Torey Lovello went out and yesterday and kind of talked about what they're going to use with their rotation and how Merrill fits into it if he's healthy. And I don't expect him to be the opening day starter, certainly not anymore. I don't know if he'll be ready for opening day to give you a full Merrill Kelly type start where he can get late into games. I certainly think all of that is pushed back. And by all of that, I mean, I don't think we're going to get a 7-8 inning game from Merrill Kelly within probably the month of April. I think they're going to ease him back in with this back. And there are moving parts to what they're going to do and where they're going to place Merrill Kelly. If he's only able to go a few innings in the beginning of this season, could we see them use him almost in a bullpen role? And I kind of had this thought the other day, and I know that sounds crazy, but maybe you start the game with an opener. You can get 1 or 2 innings there, and you use Merrill Kelly after, right? And you can get 3 through 6, 3 through 7 innings from Merrill Kelly if you're limiting his workload. But no matter what, it's great news because the strength of this Diamondbacks team lies in 2 places. I told you it was in the top 4 of the lineup, but it's also in the rotation. They did their work to build the rotation back up. After the deadline last year where they moved Merrill Kelly to Texas, they went out and brought him back to be an Arizona Diamondback. They re-signed they re-signed I can't believe I am blanking, but they went and did a lot to this rotation, and they got a lot done. And for all of this team's weaknesses, their strength lies in their rotation. And I can't believe they re-signed Zach Gallen, and their rotation was built up to what it could have been last year. They're going to get Corbin Burns back seemingly in July. And I don't think Corbin Burns is going to be the Corbin Burns that, we want or expected him to be last year before injury. They're going to have to ramp him back up as well. But the lineup, it's first 4 spots. And the pitching rotation is where the Diamondbacks are going to have to win. We've spun the wheel 1,000 times on what this bullpen could look like. We don't know how they're going to find 7th inning, 8th inning, 9th inning outs. I still don't know. We're going to see probably who the closer is every day. But we know with Merrill Kelly back and with him seemingly getting stretched out, kind of going through spring a little late now, especially for a starting pitcher. These guys are routine guys. It's all about a routine. They ramp up for the season the same way they always have. They ramp up to throw 150 plus innings the same way they always have to avoid injuries. And that hasn't been, a success for the Diamondbacks in avoiding injuries. But Merrill Kelly will have some time to ramp it back up and probably won't be getting full-length starts as the season starts. But it's a good sign we will see him pitch 1 inning on Friday. So a lot of good news yesterday for the Diamondbacks. We'll see Corbin Carroll play today. They're playing the A's at home at Salt River Fields. It will be a 1:10 start. So as soon as we get off the air, 10 minutes after the Diamondbacks will start, it'll be Ryan Nelson on the bump, and Corbin Carroll will hit leadoff in the bottom of the 1st inning. A lot of good news for the Diamondbacks. Corbin Carroll back today. Merrill Kelly will pitch an inning on Friday against the Kansas City Royals. So all those injuries we saw at the start of spring, seems like they're starting to get over them. And can they do it throughout the rest of the year? That will be the question for the Diamondbacks, as it always has been, their health. Next up, I wanted to do a list. I know we don't have Chris, but I'm still going to do one. The best remaining free agents for the Cardinals. We'll go through them 1 through 5. The guys I think would fit the Cardinals the best. That's up next. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being over on the YouTube chat. Give us a call, 480-864-1060. If you want to talk about anything, we can get you in at any time. Again, I'm Evan Reiser filling in for Chris Schubert. This is The Lunch Break on KDUS AM 1060.
Join in on the Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
When your average fan goes to an NBA game, it doesn't matter if it's game 1 or game 82. Everyone healthy should be on the court giving 110% max effort. We've seen what a player like Victor Wembanyama could do to a franchise. All the greatest of the greats, when they hit the franchise, their team becomes an instant playoff team. I hate when players that are healthy are not playing in a regular season game.
Live weekdays from 5 to 6 p.m. here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app. If you're hurt in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident, everything can change fast. That's when the attorneys at Sweet James step in. They help you understand your rights, connect you with medical care, and pursue the compensation you may be entitled to. You don't pay anything unless your case is resolved successfully, and help is available 24 hours a day. If you've been injured, call Sweet James for a free case review. Hablamos Español. 800-9000000. 800-900-0000. SweetJames.com. This advertisement is paid for by Sweet James LLP. Responsible attorney, Bobby Tech Heavy. Offices in California. No guarantee of results. The Psychedelic Furs are back. Live. May 28th, 7:30 p.m. at the Celebrity Theater. The Psychedelic Furs. Playing all the hits with special guests. We are scientists. Tickets on sale now at celebritytheater.com. The Psychedelic Furs, brought to you by Danny Zalisco Presents.
Pays to play at your local home for Caesars Rewards, Harrah's Auction Casino. With the nation's largest and most rewarding casino loyalty club, your play grants you perks at more than 50 destinations across the nation. Stay, play, splash, and dine, and then take in a Vegas show or steal away to Lake Tahoe. Because with Caesars Rewards at Harrah's Auction Casino, it always pays to play. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 or 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Visit the Caesars Rewards Center for details.
Fridays at 5, I'm out exploring. From hiking up Camelback to skiing at Snowbowl, the adventures never stop with AAA. It's membership that travels with me, whether behind the wheel or a passenger. In my ride, my buddies, or a rental. AAA's got 24/7 expert help with tows, battery help, and more. Plus branch services like free passport photos and trip planning. Membership gives you all this and more for less than $6 a month, and I can add loved ones for half off. Call or visit your local branch today. AAA, your membership to go.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Last night, Bam Adebayo delivered a performance no one saw coming. The Heat big man erupted for 83 against the Wizards, surpassing the iconic 81-point night from Kobe Bryant. Adebayo shot 20 of 43 from the floor, made 7 threes, and made 36 free throws. The last part is what has fueled debate today. That's a lot of trips to the line. But free throws are not accidents. They come from forcing defenders into bad positions and the offensive player being talented enough to make them pay. Getting to the line that often still requires dominance. Was Coach Eric Spoelstra's strategy to give Bam extra possessions by fouling in the final minutes? Yes, but context fades over time. 20 years from now, nobody's going to be counting the points from the charity stripe or Miami's late game strategy. They'll see that number 83 and remember the historic night by one of the league's more underrated stars. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. 2 words, prostate exam. Relax. Screening starts with a simple finger-free blood test. Around 1 in 8 men in the United States will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. Prostate cancer can have over a 99% 5-year relative survival rate when caught at a localized or regional stage. If you're 40 or over and have a prostate, visit relaxitsabloodtest.com to see if a PSA blood test is right for you. Talk to your doctor about screening and the next steps. Sponsored by Novartis. Tires matter. They're the only part of your vehicle that touches the road. Tread confidently with new tires from Tire Rack. Whether you're looking for expert recommendations or know exactly what you want, Tire Rack makes it really easy. Fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, convenient installation options, and the best selection of General tires. Go to TireRack.com/Dan to see their General tire test results, tire ratings, and reviews, and be sure to check out all the special offers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
KDUS AM 1060 is your home for the Jim Rome Show.
Indiana is not cheating. Lining up and punching the other guy in the face for 60 minutes, not against the rules. I challenge any of you social media whistleblowers to tell Kurt Signetti to his face that he is a cheater.
The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, here on KDUS AM 1060. Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
It's the Wednesday edition of the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Don't be afraid to give me a call during the break. 480-864-1060. We got 3 segments left here before we hand it off to Jim Rome at the top of the hour. I want to get into, Malawach and the steps he's made forward. Maybe we'll talk about Rasheer Fleming too. Maybe we'll just talk about some of the Suns rookies because they have been exciting over the last few days, over the last few weeks, especially for Rasheer Fleming. But right now, I think we've all seen what the Cardinals have done this offseason. I talked about it in hour number 1. It feels as if maybe they've taken a look at what they've done in free agency, and you might take away, feels like maybe they're punting on 2026 and playing for 2027. Maybe it is a full rebuild, and I talked about joining that with Monty Ossenfort and what that would look like. But I wanted to still do a list of guys that are still available that I think the Cardinals may be interested in. And I don't know if these are guys, I'm a little all over the place with this list because I want to start with a name at number 5 here that I've heard. And while I think unlikely, I get it. And I know this name is going to be linked because today officially is the day the Cardinals move on and cut Kyler Murray, which also means that today is officially the day that the Atlanta Falcons will make the move to cut Kirk Cousins. And I've seen it. I've seen it in articles I've read. I've seen it on social media from fans, from reporters saying, hey, would you give Kirk Cousins a call? So number 5 on my list, Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins. Just because of the flat-out situation that Kirk Cousins is. And bringing in another veteran quarterback to this. And I think it became less likely yesterday, or 2 days ago, when they signed Gardner Minshew to a 1-year deal. But if we are going to do what I outlined yesterday, move up and draft a quarterback in the first round or draft one in the second or third round on day 2, you want another guy with experience in the room. And could Kirk Cousins be that answer? I'm sure Kirk Cousins is going to get quite a few calls this offseason. But I'm interested to know and to see, honestly, if the Cardinals will be interested. So, fact of the matter, I had to put Kirk Cousins on the list. Had to do it. But we'll get into some guys I actually do like for the Cardinals. And we'll start with the defensive tackle from Carolina. He spent the last 2 years in Carolina. Been more of a run stopper, but 2 years ago was great. He played a little bit more edge 2 years ago. He can play inside. We've seen him play outside. So he offers you a little bit of versatility on the defensive line. But A'Shawn Robinson from Carolina. This is a guy who is entering his age 30, 31 season. He's been around the league. He spent time with the Rams. He won a Super Bowl with the Rams before joining the Giants for a season and then going and finishing up with Carolina. And like I said, he had a big sack year with 5.5 for a defensive tackle 2 years ago, added 2.5 last year. But what he does well is stopping the run, and what he does well is offer you some versatility. Just in Carolina, he's played edge as a New York Giant. We saw him do defensive line interiorly and play out on the edge. From the Rams, he played a lot of edge, but we also saw him line up as a defensive tackle. So he's been all over the place, and it's a versatility guy. It's a guy you can add to the rotation defensively from a defensive line standpoint. So A'Shawn Robinson's another guy I like. Another one we talked about, my number 3. We knew that they were going to want to add safety help. And so I I had to do it. The 26-year-old Bears safety, number 3 on my list, Jaquan Brisker. Brisker's been great. And I'm interested to see what number he will get on the open market. In his 4 years in Chicago, he did a lot for him. He totaled 4 picks in his 4 seasons, 1 a year, by the way, which is pretty crazy. But we've seen him play free safety. We've seen him do some other stuff, come down in the box, play a little nickel, play free safety, play strong safety. Another versatile guy, a guy you can add to this defense. You can move around. You pair him with Budda Baker. And you tend to love that combo. Younger guy, so he's 26 years old. This will be his second contract in the NFL. It makes a lot of sense. The Cardinals, by the way, rank in the top 10 of money left this offseason. Money left under the cap. Just around $30 million. And yes, they went out and added some prior today and spent some of that money. But they have money left to spend. Jaquan Brisker, another guy I could see on that list. Maybe one of the more expensive guys on this list. Another edge rusher I wanted to add, my number 2 on the list, Buffalo Bills defensive end, A.J. Epinesa. Epinesa has been kind of an interesting case. Last year, he didn't have a great year. 2.5 sacks, but he's been a 6 sack guy for the Bills over the last 4 years, more or less. In 2022, posted 6.5, and same thing in 2023. In 2024, 6 sacks. It's a guy who's had some productive years in the NFL. And for me, I like finding guys from locker rooms that know what it's like to play in January, know what it's like to play in playoff football. And so for me, Epinesa is a guy that makes a lot of sense. He's a guy that immediately comes in and, like Sweat, raises the floor of your defensive line. Because when they added Sweat last year, we all loved what they were able to do. We all loved what he was able to bring and raise the floor of the edge rushing unit. And I think it was less than what we expected. Maybe a little bit of disappointment in what the defense gave him in a lot of games, especially from in division. Last year, they didn't get much pressure, and it showed in the point totals they gave up in the Jonathan Gannon-led defense. But Nick Rallis still here. They need this defense to continue to get better. And they need to do it on the end. You have to get pressure on the quarterback. And at 3, I think they're going to draft an offensive lineman. They could take an edge rusher too. I wouldn't be shocked if we see them attack the edge position. But in free agency, I would add somebody to rush the passer. And a guy like A.J. Epinesa isn't going to be at the top of the list for people finding an edge rusher. All the teams at the top of the list, guess what they're doing right now? They're calling the Las Vegas Raiders. As teams continue to check in on the availability of Max Crosby, some of these edge rushers are going to fall through the cracks. And yes, I picked A.J. Epinesa because I wanted a guy who had been in winning locker rooms. I wanted a guy who I think is a pure pass rusher, which A.J. Epinesa is. And I know the 6 and 6.5 sack seasons don't jump out of the page to a lot of people, but I think he's a good fit here. He's not that old. He's 27 years old. We're not talking about adding a 30-year-old pass rusher. We're talking about adding a 27-year-old, a guy who spent his first 6 seasons in Buffalo and could come into the Cardinals, give you a few years, and if it is playing for 2027, you could get AJ Epinesa on a couple-year deal for him to be one of the edge rushers in 2 to 3 years down the line. So for me, number 2, AJ Epinesa. And my number 1 name, because I still think they need offensive line help, and I know they've attacked that with Isaac Seumalo and with Pryor today. And while I like both of those moves, and Seumalo was a guy I had brought up multiple times, Seumalo was a guy that I thought they could attack and I thought would be a good addition. Rasheed Walker, the Green Bay tackle, at 26 years old, will hit free agency this offseason. He's played a little bit of left tackle. He's played a little bit of right tackle. So he's a guy who can play either tackle position. Like I said, he's 26 years old. He's a younger tackle, so he can give you multiple years. And if you're able to get a guy who's a fit for 2 to 3 years down the line, we know this team, if they're going into a rebuild, will want to build out the trenches. You do it with a guy like Rasheed Walker. You bring in a young offensive lineman who can get a multiple year deal with you done. If you do draft a rookie quarterback next year and they're going to play in their rookie year, you're going to want to have them protected. Rasheed Walker could be part of the group that is protecting what could be a young quarterback in 2026. I saw Code over there, and he doesn't have to sell me on it. Atrocious for Arch is the new line he's given everybody for the Cardinals season in 2026. Hashtag atrocious for Arch. I'll give him the hashtag there. But if it is a young quarterback like Arch Manning, or if it is Ty Simpson sitting behind Jacoby Brissett and playing next year, you're going to want a good offensive line to protect him. Starts with Paris Johnson. Add another tackle. You've added additions on the interior. I believe you're going to draft somebody. And then we're talking about a revamped offensive line in 2026, but also in 2027. That's what it is for the Cardinals. My top 5 free agents left for the Arizona Cardinals, I will once again recap them. Number 5 was Kirk Cousins, just because of the speculation. If you do draft a young guy, you can bring him in to teach, to be another bridge guy with Jacoby Brissett. A'Shawn Robinson, the Panthers' interior defensive lineman, a guy who's played out on the edge and played interiorly. He can offer you some versatility in rotations on the defensive line. Jaquan Brisker, the 26-year-old safety from the Chicago Bears, could be a nice pairing with Budda Baker and give you an upgrade out in the secondary. And the last 2, number 2, AJ Epinesa, another edge rusher on my list. Another way to build in the trenches if you are going to play for the next few years. Adding a 27-year-old edge rusher, never a bad idea. And my number 1, build in the trenches, be able to run the football. We know they're going to want to do that. They restructured James Conner. They brought in Tyler Algier. They still have Trey Benson. We know Mike LaFleur is going to want to run the football. You're going to have to upgrade the offensive line. They've already made some moves there. I think they'll attack it in the draft. But Rasheed Walker, the former Packer, and the 26-year-old offensive tackle who's played both left and right tackle would be a huge addition for the team. Coming up next, there's been a lot of good signs for the Phoenix Suns, one of which being the growth of the rookies. I want to talk about it next here on the lunch break on KDUS AM 1060.
Every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. is MMA Friday on the Sports Zoo with official UFC ranker Scott Lewis, brought to you by RTO Sullivan's, your home for every UFC event. The Sports Zoo is the only show in the Valley that gives you 1 full hour of MMA every week, featuring Scott Lewis's official UFC ranking changes, fight predictions for every weekly event, shocking MMA stories, and more. So tune in every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. and then head to RTO Sullivan's every Saturday to watch the fights. Go to RTOSullivans.com for a location near you.
Bad Omens. Do you feel love? North American Tour 2026. Live at Desert Diamond Arena, March 24th. Bad Omens. With special guests, Beartooth and President. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Bad Omens, live in Glendale.
You won't believe everything I just saw. I went to Disneyland, and it was the 70th celebration. First, I went to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse Live, and I danced with Goofy. At night, I saw this parade. Everything was glowing. Sorcerer Mickey was there, and Lightning McQueen. Oh, then I went to this giant water show with all the Inside Out characters. And I was like, whoa. And then my parents were like, whoa. Oh, and guess what? Bluey and Bingo are coming for real life.
Make memories that last a lifetime during the 70th celebration with Paint the Night Parade, World of Color Happiness, and Bluey's Best Day Ever. Coming soon. Save with Good Neighbor Hotel packages starting at $164 per person per night on select days through March 31st, 2026. For a party of 4 adults, including 2-day, 1-park-per-day tickets and a 3-night stay at a select Good Neighbor Hotel in a deluxe room. Total price $1,960. Visit Disneyland.com/Good Neighbor Hotels for details.
Some flavors just take you to another place. Like the Filet-O-Fish, a crispy fish fillet made with wild-caught Alaskan pollock on melty American cheese topped with tartar sauce, all on a soft steamed bun. It's crispy, flaky perfection. And right now, I can mix and match 2 favorites, like a Filet-O-Fish or 10-piece chicken McNuggets for just $6. This deal is the catch of the day. So get to McDonald's fast. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
Hey, it's Phil Shaver with HomeSmart, and I want to buy your house. I'm a local investor that buys homes for cash all over Maricopa and Pinell County. I buy inherited homes, nice homes, rental homes, homes that are behind on mortgage payments, and I even buy ugly homes that need fixing. Also, are you looking to get closer to market value for your house? As a licensed realtor, I've been able to buy and sell thousands of homes. Since I'm local, you can call me directly on my cell phone, 480-409-9999. Again, that's 480-409-9999. I don't work for a big corporation or hedge fund, so I can only buy 3 to 5 homes per month. There are no fees involved, and you can pick your own close date. The best part is I buy homes as is, so you don't have to worry about doing any repairs. Again, you can call me directly at 480-409-9999, or you can go to my website, gosoldaz.com.
Another weekend series right here on KDUS AM 1060. This Friday evening, join the Sun Devils as they square off against TCU. Coach Willie Bloomquist is more than ready to lead his team to another win as they open up conference play in 2026. Start your weekend with ASU and TCU in the Diamond this Friday night. Pregame at 6:15 p.m. and first pitch at 6:35 p.m. right here on KDUS AM 1060, online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS app.
Welcome back into the Wednesday edition of the Lunch Break. My name is Evan Reiser, filling in for Chris Schubert. Chris is on vacation. Hope he's having a lovely time. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. Thank you for hanging out with us today. What a day it was yesterday. Suns got a win. And the one thing I keep seeing as we watch, Saturday's Suns game, Sundays, and then into last night is the growth in the young guys. And come on, Malowatch. We've talked extensively about what Rasheer Fleming has become and being that 3-and-D guy this team needed, being a role player for this team down the stretch, how great he has been, a kind of a breath of fresh air. But with the recent Mark Williams injury, there's been a lot of minutes out there. And who's been taking them? Come on, Malowatch. Early in the season, you didn't see much of Malowatch. And it was a lot of knock on what Brian Gregory was able to do in the draft, right? That was the one thing we thought, maybe they didn't do great in the draft. They had a great free agency. It felt like they traded for Mark Williams in the draft. And while they couldn't spend much money in free agency, they made the right moves, from trades to go move Kevin Durant and get back Jalen Green, who is really coming into his own as he plays more and more games this year. What they did with Dylan Brooks, they said they were going to change the culture, and adding a guy like Dylan Brooks immediately showed that. So we loved what they did probably in these trades, and we knew they weren't going to get the return maybe you thought Kevin Durant was worth. But they did a really nice job in a trade with the Houston Rockets. And then on top of that, they released Bradley Beal. And we didn't know what this Suns team was going to be. They came out with a strong start. That momentum has carried over. We've seen the culture change. There's been a lot of positives from the Suns season, but for a while it was, man, wish the rookies were helping out this team. Kaman Malawach has, in recent games, started to help out this team. Just his 8 points last night, and while we would like to see him probably be more effective on the glass, do a better job of getting rebounds, I thought he was great around the rim last night as a finisher. 4 of 4 from inside the paint. He only took 5 shots. His 5th one came from beyond the arc and did not fall. So he was 4 of 5 on the night, but inside the paint, put home all his opportunities. He finished with 8 points, and defensively, he's been really good. I thought on Sunday's game, he was excellent. Thought he was a rim protector and a huge reason that Charlotte only scored 99 points in a loss to the Suns. One of the hottest teams in the NBA could only put up 99. In his 20 minutes in that game, I thought Kaman Malawach had a huge impact on the defensive side of the court. And last night, maybe not as impactful on the defensive side, still had an impact. But he's growing night in and night out. And I think that's the exciting part you can see. Listen, is it all there right away? Certainly not. But I think for not only Kaman Malawach, but for Rasheer Fleming, we're seeing these guys grow night in and night out with little parts of their game. It was only 8 points for Kaman Malawach last night. But it was the effectiveness and the efficiency that I thought he played with. And I'm not saying he was their best player. I think Jalen Green probably was one of their best players, if not Devin Booker last night. Jalen Green probably played maybe his best game as a Sun last night. But Kaman Malawach continues to take that step forward. And for these young guys, for these rookies, finding guys that can be impact players is the name of the game, because we know what the Suns draft capital looks like. We know it's not very strong over the next few years. Where can you find guys that impact? Rasheer Fleming was a 2nd-round pick out of St. Joe's. He's going to be a role player getting solid minutes for a team that, let's face it, is fighting for the 6th seed. Is right there, right in the mix for the 6th seed. And last night with a win, pulled within 1 game of the 6th seed, just 1 game behind the Denver Nuggets, just 2 games behind both the Timberwolves and the Lakers. They are 2 games back from being not only the 6th seed, from being the 4th seed in the Western Conference. This team, this culture changed at the beginning of the season. And it only gets better. Without Dylan Brooks, they are finding, without Mark Williams, they are finding roles for their young guys in Rasheer Fleming, in Kaman Malawach, who are now adding contributions to this team. The knock on this organization 6 months ago was they were in the worst position. You know what? I'll just play the clip. I'll play the clip from Bontemps.
It's the worst situation in the history of the NBA. And
oh my God. He just comes off the top of that one.
It's not the first time I've said it.
I know.
It's the worst situation in the history of the NBA. And none of this is a sign that's getting any better.
Just to clarify that, the worst situation, like from a front office management
from a franchise, where the franchise sits right now. They have no control over their drafts for the next several years. They're in cap hell. They have Bradley Beal, who they cannot trade because he has a no-trade clause. They have no draft picks to improve the team. And they have an aging Kevin Durant who they now have annoyed with the way they handled things in the spring.
And who only has 1 year left on his contract, so he's going to have a lot of say on where he goes or where he doesn't, which deflates his value.
There is not a path out of this anytime soon, that, in my opinion, that doesn't involve a lot of pain.
2 games out of the 4 seed in the Western Conference, the vaunted Western Conference, by the way. You heard that clip. That's how this team was looked at 6 to 8 months ago. The worst situation in the history of the NBA. They changed the culture. They did that with Jordan Knott. They did that with Dylan Brooks. They did that with the guys they had internally. Brian Gregory handled the draft, made a trade for Mark Williams. Mark Williams gets banged up. Questions about what they can do with their first-round pick, Kaman Malawach. Questions of whether their draft can have an impact. And now we're sitting here on March 11th talking about Rasheer Fleming, who again was great on Sunday. Wasn't his best game last night, but was great on Sunday. And Kaman Malawach, who continues to take steps forward. This organization, this team, had a complete turnaround. And now it's infecting everybody involved. And the young guys continue to grow. A lot of excitement for the Suns down the stretch. Lot of excitement. I think they got 17 games left. And they're going to be fun to watch as they chase not only the 6th seed, but maybe even higher in the Western Conference. We got one more segment before we hand it off to Jim Rome at the top of the hour. It's everything we didn't get to today. It's the leftovers, and it's next. Thank you for hanging out with us here on the lunch break on KDUS AM 1060.
Every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. is MMA Friday on the Sports Zoo with official UFC ranker Scott Lewis, brought to you by RTO Sullivan's, your home for every UFC event. The Sports Zoo is the only show in the Valley that gives you 1 full hour of MMA every week, featuring Scott Lewis's official UFC ranking changes, fight predictions for every weekly event, shocking MMA stories, and more. So tune in every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. and then head to RTO Sullivan's every Saturday to watch the fights. Go to RTOSullivans.com for a location near you.
It's the spectacular return of Bruce Springsteen and the legendary E Street Band. Land of Hope and Dreams American Tour. Live at Mortgage Matchup Center, April 16th. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. An unforgettable night with Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. For more, visit BruceSpringsteen.net.
At the Phoenix Zoo, we are scaly things and furry things. We are fast things and slow things. Tall things and short things. We are huge things and very, very small things. We are things from right here in Arizona and things from all over the world. We are thousands of living, breathing mammals, reptiles, birds, insects, fish, and amphibians that you absolutely have to see. Phoenix Zoo, that zoo we are. For tickets, hours, and many more things, visit phoenixzoo.org.
Santana, Oneness Tour 2026. The power, the energy. Come celebrate your favorite hits from Woodstock to Supernatural and beyond. With very special guest, the Doobie Brothers. Friday, August 14th, Mortgage Matchup Center. On sale now at livenation.com. Santana and Doobie Brothers, Oneness Tour 2026.
Jumbo Shrimp is back at Del Taco. One bite of Del's Jumbo Shrimp Taco, and yeah, you're on a whole different level of flavor. Top tier, no notes. Crispy golden shrimp, crunchy cabbage, fresh house-made pico de gallo, and savory secret sauce, all wrapped up in a warm flour tortilla with a fresh-cut lime wedge. And right now, get 2 for just $6. They're only here for a limited time, so level up with 2 crispy jumbo shrimp tacos for $6. Only at Del Taco. Del, yeah. Price and participation may vary.
KDUS AM 1060 is your home for the Jim Rome Show.
I'm not here to bury Mike Tomlin, but the fact is, this absolutely is the right move. He did the right thing, and he fired himself. All good things come to an end. Going a decade without winning a single playoff game is not meeting the standard.
Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, here on KDUS AM 1060. online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
And it's the leftovers. One more before we hand it off to Jim Rome here at the top of the hour, and we'll start it with breaking news. The Diamondbacks have announced that Zach Gallen will be their opening day starter, as it was confirmed to be Merrill Kelly early, according to Torey Lovello. That will no longer be the case due to his injury that we got into earlier. Zach Gallen will start opening day in LA for the Diamondbacks, and it will be the same opening day starter as last year, even though we knew he was a free agent, Zach Gallen, back in the Diamondbacks uniform, and will start opening day. All right, let's get into it, because the one thing we have not talked about in what was a crazy sports day last night was the Italy-United States WBC game. The U.S. takes an 8-6 loss to Team Italy in a game in which they thought they had advanced, but officially have not, and now are in a situation where they could be left sitting out of the knockout stage round of the World Baseball Classic. Here is the scenario for Team USA to involve. I have a chart here that can show it to you all. The chart gets a little confusing, so I will break it down simply. Team USA advances if two things happen. If Italy wins, does not matter. The runs scored. If Italy wins this game 1-0, if Italy wins this game 5-0, it does not matter. Mexico then goes to 2-2, and the 2 3-1 teams in Pool B get in, which would be the United States and Team Italy. They would move on to the knockout rounds. Also, and by the way, in all of these scenarios, the U.S. would not win. Yeah, in all of these scenarios, the United States would not win the pool. So they would always be the second finisher in Pool B, despite being 3-1 because of run differential. The next scenario, if Mexico wins, they win this game 4-3, the United States is out. If Mexico is able to score 5 runs or more, the U.S. advances. So Mexico wins this game 6-5. Mexico wins this game 5-4. The U.S. headed to the knockout rounds. The only way the U.S. could lose in the knockout rounds is if Mexico wins this game 4-3, if Mexico wins this game 3-1, anything below 5 runs, the United States will be out. And I guess my question immediately, first of all, just kind of an embarrassing performance for the United States last night, not only from a player perspective, but it's hard to watch Mark DeRosa go on MLB Network and kind of say and put out there that they had punched their ticket to the next round when that was not true. And I had heard that, and then I came on this show and was like, the U.S. in the next round, their game with Italy might not matter. Lies. Their game with Italy did not matter, or did matter. And while, yes, I should have known that from run differential and bad math, I didn't know it. The manager should have known it. That is crazy. Mark DeRosa failed the U.S. baseball team last night by not knowing the situation. And they punted on a game versus Team Italy. Noel McLean gave up 3 runs in the first inning. Gave up 3 runs in his 2 innings of work. Then it became 5-0. Then it became 8-0. PCA hit 2 home runs, a 3-run home run, and then a solo shot in the 9th that made it a 1-run game. They had the tying run up at the plate with Gunnar Henderson and Aaron Judge, who both struck out. And long story short, here we are again. We are at a spot where the U.S., after a loss to Italy, is relying on a game between Italy and Mexico. And they need Italy to win. And the U.S.'s hopes solely lies in the hands of Aaron Nola. And if you know Aaron Nola, this is a terrible place to be. Because Aaron can give you 8 great innings and then give you a 3-run home run, and Mexico could win this game 3-1, which would leave the U.S. out. If you know Aaron Nola, if you've been a Phillies fan like I have, or you've just followed his career, this is a bad spot to be. It's a bad spot to be that you didn't just lock up your chance at 4-0 to go to the knockout round. You're fighting an uphill battle. Canada right now, by the way, trying to get to 2-1. I believe the winner of this Canada-Cuba game gets in. Don't quote me on that, but 1-0 up in the third. They are trying to head to the knockout round. The Dominican Republic in Pool D is playing Venezuela today in what should be an electric game. That can be found on Tubi. It will also be on FS1. Italy and Mexico, by the way, is now moved to FS1. It was solely on Tubi, but now that it matters for the United States, they've been moved to FS1. That game starts at 4 p.m. today, so be sure to tune in. We need Mexico to either score 5+ runs for the United States to get in, or we need Italy to win with Aaron Nola on the bump. By the way, Code pointed out that Randy Arozarena not answering any of Cal Raleigh's texts today. That was a story I talked about yesterday. Cal Raleigh did not shake the hand of Randy Arozarena, and he had some words about it. So drama all across the WBC leading up to opening day. And the big news for the Diamondbacks, Zach Gallen will be the opening day starter officially for the team. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on the Wednesday edition of the Lunch Break. Hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for hanging out. Peace.
AM 1060 KDUS